Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to this latest QGate webinar, where our focus is integrating your CRM and ER systems and the benefits. My name is Josh Dallywell, and I'm kindly joined by a special guest. I think I've always wanted to say that. Stuart Hardman is the Commercial Director at Dynamics Consultants. I'm sure many of you on this call are already familiar with Stuart, or at the very least with Dynamics Consultants, who here at QGate, we've had a very special working relationship with that spans more than a decade. Stuart, do you want to say a quick hello and give us an introduction?
Good afternoon, Josh, and good afternoon to everyone on the call. Firstly, I'd like to say, unfortunately, I'm only the commercial manager, not director, so you promoted me unnecessarily there, Josh. So I'm the commercial manager at Dynamics Consultants, and I'm primarily responsible for the products and partnerships, such as the one that we got with yourselves at QGate. I've been working with Business Central in its previous incarnations, which were Dynamics Nav and Navision, for more than 20 years, initially as an end user and then as a lead consultant. And I moved into my current role about 3.5 years ago at DC.
Fantastic. I'm also kindly joined by my colleague Yasmin Cooper, who will be keeping an eye on the chat for your questions. If you aren't already familiar with how Teams works, then please see the Teams toolbar for the icons that allow you to message to the group or directly to the presenters. Yaz, do you want to say a quick hello?
Hello everyone, I did just give a quick wave, but hi, yes, I'll be keeping an eye on the chat and the Q&A, so yeah, feel free to pop in any questions, comments, and we'll go through them at the end.
Excellent. It's worthwhile mentioning that this webinar is being recorded, so please don't worry about making notes. We will be making a copy of the video available on our website and the YouTube channel, hopefully by the end of this week, and you will all be receiving an email notifying you that it is up and available. If you are watching this as a recording and you have any questions, then please feel free to use my contact details or Stuart's that you see on the screen in front of you to contact either one of us with your questions. Now, I notice that many of the names of registrants on this webinar are new to QGate, so for everyone's benefit, QGate is an operational efficiency and CRM consultancy that specialises in the use of Dynamics 365 and Power Apps to help solve our clients' CRM and business problems. We believe that technology should work for you and not the other way around. We're passionate about helping businesses streamline their processes and improve their customer relationships through the power of business process automation and CRM. Our goal is to empower our clients to focus on what they do best, which is running their businesses and serving their customers, as opposed to worrying about technology. And we typically work with business owners, heads of operations or IT managers in small to medium-sized organisations. And some of the things that they typically tell us is that they're either scared that they're being left behind by digital developments and are unable to scale their businesses with the systems that they have. They're annoyed at how difficult it is to extract any kind of meaningful data from the business on which to make decisions because it's all locked up in multiple spreadsheets or multiple systems, or that they worry they will lose customers because their processes are too cumbersome and manual and they lack automation and workflows. And we see it as an important part of our role as a trusted partner to educate, inform and inspire our clients on the latest technologies available, hence us talking about ERP today. And part of our role is to demystify and decipher many new developments, because I'm sure you're all aware and you're all very busy to help you understand the practicalities of how these things can impact your business. That's really kind of our role here. Now, I thought an ideal place to start is to bring in Stuart at this point to tell us firstly, for both your benefit and mine, what an ERP system is and why you need one.
So ERP, as you quite rightly put there, stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. So enterprise in this case means more of an entity than the size of the business. So small and medium-sized businesses can have an ERP system too, not just enterprise size. ERP runs the core business processes within a company. So that normally includes the finance and the accounts, stock management, supply chain, including warehouse, manufacturing, procurement, for instance, and other resources such as human resources that are used in manufacturing, service and project scenarios. So an ERP system lets a company have visibility of their requirements, and it lets them then plan on how to deliver those requirements and record purchases, sales, usage and consumption, but all in one integrated solution.
Okay, excellent. Now, I guess before we move on, a quick question for our audience. Do you use a CRM system at the moment? Do you use an ERP system or both? You can answer on the messaging on Teams with CRM, ERP or both. And feel free to add any additional information you have on integrations between the two or pain points. And we'll try and revisit some of those comments later during this webinar. Just quickly, Stuart, my understanding is that Dynamics consultants have been in this ERP space for, was it 16 or 17 years now?
Yeah.
And you have what I would describe as an enviable client list. You know, some very big organizations, and I know that some of those are registered for this webinar. Is there a kind of a typical type of client that you have?
So I think increasingly our focus is moving more towards the manufacturing and distribution elements, but we also do an awful lot of work with financial service industries and resource service industries as well. So we've got, as you said, a client base which is quite a broad church, and that we've got some which are maybe 2 or 3 user systems up to 600 user systems, and turnover ranging from 2 or 3 million up to, we've got a couple up around about the billion mark as well. So it's a hugely scalable solution, and we benefit from that, the kind of customer base that we've got.
Fantastic, excellent. And I will be coming back to Stuart in just a slide or two. But I guess I'm not going to dwell too long on this slide because I don't think it's important in the context of this webinar to go into detail about everything that a successful CRM system should be able to do. We have previously hosted a webinar titled The 6 Key Components of a Successful CRM System. The eagle-eyed amongst you will notice that there are actually 7 components on this screen. And that's because the technology is evolving all the time. If anybody would like access to that webinar, then please drop me an email or send it to info@qgate.co.uk, or just simply post a message on the chat here, and Yaz will happily send you a link to the recording of that webinar on the QGate website. I know from experience that a lot of people's interpretations and use of a CRM is still very much a digital contact management system, in some cases just a fancy Filofax. But in addition to managing your contacts, it can serve as a place to manage your pipeline of business, report on what stage your opportunities are at, report on activity, the effectiveness of your marketing and sales efforts, when business is set to close, all the traditional metrics that we all like to beat sales departments with. It can also support your outbound email marketing and communication with customers and prospects, things that people traditionally use external systems for, and enabling access to all that information remotely via mobile devices. So wherever your salespeople are, your customer success managers are, your field service engineers, they can access your data remotely. And if you're not currently using a CRM to its full potential, then we can always have a follow-up conversation to expand on this. So what are some of the pain points? In fact, that's just the screen grab from the webinar I've just been talking about. But so what are some of the pain points and challenges that businesses face when you have multiple independent systems? that are central to your business that do not communicate directly with each other. Now, this is not meant to be a comprehensive list by all means, but what I've tried to do here is compile all the various things that we're told by our customers and tried to categorize these. For the first one, we have data duplication, and I want to extend that to data and process duplication, because when finance, resourcing and CRM systems are separate, data often needs to be entered either manually into both systems or copied from one system to another. And sometimes we get so used to doing things a certain way, and that's because that's the way that we've always done it, and we haven't always been shown a different way. I think I probably have one of the most extreme personal stories of data duplication, and I'm sure that things have improved, but we're only talking about 10 years ago. I lived in Portsmouth and had an NHS appointment at Queen Alexandra Hospital for day surgery. It was actually the same place my wife worked at the time. But a few weeks before my appointment, I received a form in the post. It was a fairly standard form, name, address, penicillin allergy, asking for any other medical conditions I have. It asked whether I was on any medication. I completed it and sent it back in the enclosed envelope. Now I turned up for my appointment, and whilst waiting for my surgery, the receptionist handed me a form attached to a clipboard with a copy of a form identical to the one I had completed and sent back. And when I told her I'd already completed it, I got a very short shrift response that this one was for her records. Now, during the next 2 hours, I went through the same form and the same process separately with both the surgeon and the anaesthetist. Now, I understand that with the NHS, the last thing that any of those people with the form wanted was to be sued by me as a patient, and everybody wanted to protect their own back. But it does raise some questions of how much duplication is there in our businesses. Data duplication can lead to both inaccuracies and wasted time. Mistakes can happen during data entry, which leads to inconsistencies and can cause confusion and errors in financial reporting, customer interactions, and decision making. Disconnected systems can lead to inefficient workflows. For instance, when a sales team member closes a deal, they may need to manually notify the finance team to generate an invoice or update payment terms, or they close an order for a product out of stock or at a different price point. These manual steps can slow down processes and create bottlenecks in the business. Without integration, the finance team might not have access to real-time access to customer-related data from different sources for financial audits or regulatory reporting, which can also then be time-consuming and error-prone. And as your business grows, managing distinct systems becomes more complex. Integrating systems can provide scalability by automating processes and ensuring that data and workflows remain manageable as the business expands. One of the things I haven't mentioned on here, but just kind of came to me, is that manually transferring data between systems increases the risk of data breaches and compromises. Integrated systems can offer better security measures, ensuring that sensitive financial and customer information is protected. Now, as I mentioned, this is just a summary of some of the pain points that we've collected over the years. Before I leave this slide, Stuart, have I missed or anything, or is there anything that you'd like to add?
I think you've picked up the key points. The one which always stand out to me kind of sits in the reporting challenges to a degree. It's about visibility of data, and that's in both directions. So, for instance, if you're working in the customer relationship team or the sales team, ensuring that you know what's going on with the customer from an operations perspective is very handy. So, what's their balance? What outstanding orders and invoices have they got? Have they got any outstanding support tickets? Seeing that in one place is great, and having a joined up system means you can have that flowing across from your ERP system. And on the flip side, the operations team, it's useful for them to be able to see what's in the pipeline. So realistically, what is the level of work that we've got coming in over the next 6 months? Because they might plan for it. They might plan from a stock perspective, from a resourcing perspective. And if they've got access to data that's coming across from the CRM system, it gives them more opportunity to address those issues earlier rather than later when they get the final order onto their desk.
Exactly. And I know one of the areas that we regularly have conversations with customers, again, talking about integrating multiple systems, is it's very typical for businesses to have a CRM system and a totally separate system for customer service or customer support, where you have tickets, and so that your sales team members have no visibility of current issues and tickets currently being worked on. And the last thing you want is your salespeople ringing up an unhappy customer because they've got an unresolved issue, trying to sell them something new. And so it's important for every aspect of the business to have sometimes visibility of those customer interactions. And I'm going to be talking a little bit more about that in just a moment. Now, Stu, you mentioned very briefly your experience with Business Central, which is a Microsoft ERP system. I'm sure our webinar audience who are not already familiar with ERP systems might benefit from what a systems looks like. Can you talk us through a typical system?
I can show you a typical system very briefly if you want. That might be helpful. So Business Central is Microsoft's offering. I'm going to steal the screen now from you. It's Microsoft's SMB offering. So it's the ERP solution that they offer to the small and medium-sized businesses. It's a hugely flexible system. It's customizable. It's bespokeable as well, if that's a word, in that you can add in third-party ISV solutions. So a lot of software vendors will provide solutions via Microsoft and the App Store so that you can add into the solution to expand it for more sort of niche markets or very specific areas of functionality. But you can also personalize it, so you can change the appearance of the screens, the layout, what you see on it. And you can also add bespoke development. So a lot of our customers have exceptionally niche requirements potentially that we can address through our development team and actually put additional functionality in that is just for them as a business. So it's hugely flexible, hugely powerful, and also very, very scalable. As I said, we've got customers from 2 or 3 million up to about £1 billion turnover using it. So this is the home page. This is the role center. When you first log in, you can see across the top, there's a lot of different areas of functionality in the system. You've got the customers, vendors, items. This is specific to the job role that I'm doing. So I don't see everything in the system. I don't see all the manufacturing elements, for instance, but I get a feel for some of the areas of functionality. You get highlights, key pieces of information, such as outstanding balances, sales invoices, they're outstanding, etc. And you've got these queues here. So queue allows you to see what is in your queue to do, and it's a queue for you to do something. So for instance, I've got 67 purchase orders. I can drill down on that and it shows me what those 67 purchase orders are. And these are the ones that are personal to me. So I'm maybe the assigned person for them. You've also got the ability to embed Power BI reports. So we've got some very simple Power BI reports embedded in the home page, which you can obviously hover over and it gives you pieces of information that the data and the charts relate to. We've got a more complex one there. Obviously, it's a bit too complex for this size screen, but you can pop it out if you want to and drill down on it and see the information there. It's also worth noting that obviously as it's a Microsoft package, it's fully SaaS, so it's up in the cloud. I'm using a browser here for this, but it integrates with all the Microsoft 365 products. So it integrates with Word, Excel, Teams, Outlook. It integrates with other dynamic solutions such as sales and customer service. And also it's got full integration with the Power Platform. So you mentioned that you guys work with Power Automate and Power Apps. So you can build Power Apps that access the data in the background from Business Central. And you can build Power Automate flows, which help you with process automation. So you can take triggers within Business Central and say, when something happens in Business Central, I want to do this externally, or I want to contact this system or this external solution or email this person. And you can get this all to happen automatically with very, very low levels of coding knowledge. That's a low code and no code solution. So as a core for your business and your operations side of things, it's a fantastically scalable and expandable solution that will fit most businesses out there.
Excellent. And you mentioned obviously what you've got there on the screen in front of you is kind of very role specific. What kind of different
Yes.
roles do you kind of see amongst your clients in using Business Central?
So it depends on the person and the role they're doing. So sometimes it will be customer service, for instance. So if you've got people which are more, taking calls, then you can have a role center based around that. You might have a purchasing role center, a warehousing role center, manufacturing, sort of business manager, business leader. So depending on the type of role you've got, everything on this page is tailored to you. So the shortcuts that you get, the cues that you get, the headline numbers that you see and the reports that you see are tailored to that particular role. And you can then personalize it even further. So if a particular subsection of the customer service team, for instance, needs to see different data, you can amend it for a specific set of people as well. So it's very, very flexible.
And I assume there are kind of security settings in place based on roles and individuals that nobody can go in and inadvertently.
No, absolutely not. It's got a very, very complex security system in the background that can be tied in with your Active Directory. So it knows what role you're in the business and then applies the associated permissions with that particular role in the business. And then you can refine it further as required as well.
Okay. Excellent. And yes, I know that's a very, very quick snapshot view, and I'm sure that but for the purposes of this webinar, it is just kind of giving people a taste of what Business Central looks like. But I'm sure that there's a whole host of other capabilities which you'd be kind of more than happy to talk our audience through. So if anybody would like to arrange a much more calm and composed demo, then please feel free to reach out either to myself or to Stuart directly, and we can facilitate that. Okay. Right, let me go back to sharing my screen. Okay, so although both ERP and CRM systems hold account and contact information, it is very much done for different purposes. A CRM being focused on support and sales and prospects, whereas an ERP is focused on inventory, warehouse, shipping, logistics, and billing. The ERP and CRM integration essentially kind of removes the tedious necessity of duplicating data entry by providing identical rules for each system. So for instance, any alterations made in the ERP database can be reflected in the CRM system and vice versa. When salespeople have access to real-time data in terms of inventory levels and current product pricing, they can provide more accurate quotes, more accurate lead times and shipment dates. And this level of consistency and accuracy is key to building happier customers when expectations can be better managed. When ERP and CRM systems are linked to each other, forecasts can be easily matched to demand, prevent excess inventory or shortages, improve delivery times, and also kind of allow you to plan around seasonal and customer trends, and ultimately boost customer satisfaction in the process. And also, when employees throughout your organization can see the full customer picture, call history, preferences, orders, service requests, contracts, resolutions, and other information, they can seamlessly work together to help those customers. And obviously this requires a consolidated, centralized insight between your systems. Now, I know we have a few finance people on this call, and obviously fast, accurate invoicing builds business credibility by demonstrating consistency and making things easier for your customers. So when your ERP and CRM system are integrated, you can create automation across your quote to cash process. And I guess operating and maintaining separate systems can be costly. Integrating systems initially requires an investment, but over time, the cost savings from streamlined operations and improved decision making can outweigh these initial expenses. You also free up your employees to focus more of their time on the jobs that they were employed to do, as opposed to all the things that they have to do in order to do their jobs. Okay. Anything that you'd like to add to that, Stuart?
Again, I think it goes back to the visibility of data. Obviously, Business Central's got a very strong budgeting areas of functionality. It's got sales forecasts in the system as well. If you don't have an integrated system, you have to maintain that information manually. So it's all the rekeying, the accuracy, etc. Whereas if you do have an integrated system, it's possible to feed data through from CRM and from the sales system into your ERP system and actually start maintaining those sales forecasts in a more automated way, which gives you, as I said, better visibility of what's coming forward into the business.
And I'm sure that at some point somebody's going to be thinking, how much does this cost? I know you have a page on your website, don't you, that you highlight costs on?
Yes. So it's a bit of a how long is a piece of string, really. We do two fundamental type of projects. We've got ABC, which is Accelerated Business Central, and then ETO, which is Engineer to Order. And they're targeted at different companies. So the ETO is the more complex, sort of bespoke requirements for the larger companies, whereas ABC is a more boxed, fully packaged up solution, if you like. So an ABC will cost you an awful lot less than an ETO, but then you have to take the system that we've got sort of boxed up and prepared already for you. But it doesn't constrain you in any way. You can expand it and move forward with it. But you're looking at maybe 2 to 3 months for an ABC compared to 6, 12, 18 months for an ETO type project as well. So it really does depend on the requirements and the complexities of the business.
Excellent. And yeah, and I guess, you know, that we have, I guess, kind of similar solutions in place as far as the CRM side of things is concerned. You know, there's a very basic sales CRM system that that we can configure for you in just a matter of days, right through to, I guess, kind of much more complex systems that look at improving efficiency and introducing business process automation, you know, which in some cases can take several months to put together and deliver. We're going to go over to questions now. And yes, do you have anything that in terms of feedback or questions from our audience during this call?
Yes, so I think in response to your question earlier on in the webinar, we've got a couple of answers. So we've got using Dynamics 365 CRM and Sage 950 on server, looking to move to more modern software as a service based ERP. And we've also got using Nav ERP moving to BC with aspirations internally for CRM.
Okay.
And then we also have a question. I don't know. Do you want me? I don't know if you want to cover those first.
Sure. I think with both of those individual cases, if you collect the information, and I guess who's posting that information, I think those probably require more kind of detailed individual responses as opposed to, I guess, something that's for wider discussion here. So I think, yeah, both of those can expect a follow-up email or call, or appropriate follow-up and call. Anything in terms of questions?
Yes, so I've got one question so far. How long does it take to set up an ERP system?
Yeah, so that kind of goes back a little bit to some earlier comment. The ABCs, if a company is ready and prepared to move quickly, we could put a very simple ABC solution in probably a month, maybe 2 months, and get up and running on that. But that's a very boxed solution. It's very much they have to take what we give them from a setup perspective. So it's typically for your smaller companies with very simple processes. The engineer to order is going to be a lot longer. We need to go in, analyze the requirements, and then build a project based on the specific requirements of the company, which can take 6, 12, 18 months, as I said. So.
Okay. And I guess you've got experience of integrating CRM systems and ERP systems. Have you got, I guess the question might be, how long does that take, or is that not a standard answer?
Yeah, I wish it was a standard answer. So Microsoft have an integration piece now, which is out of the box. So Business Central can integrate to Dataverse, which is what sales is built upon, and also a lot of the Dynamics products, such as customer service. So there's an integration piece out of the box that allows us to synchronize basic pieces of data, such as accounts to customers, contacts, products, price lists, etc. Both ways. However, each company tends to have a very specific requirement. So it may be if they've got some bespoke requirements in their CRM system or bespoke requirements in the Business Central system, we will then need to tweak and change that integration piece to allow for that and pass the additional pieces of data across. But it's not horrendously complex. It's probably to get up and running initially, only a couple of days worth of work. If they need things over and above the standard functionality, then you're looking at scoping it and speccing it, and it might go into a couple of weeks to get up and running properly.
Sure. Okay. Fantastic. Anything else, Yaz?
No, not at the moment.
Okay, fantastic. I will be resharing both mine and Stuart's contact details in case anybody has any questions revisiting or rewatching this webinar. In terms of next steps, if anybody would like to see a Dynamics as a CRM or ERP system in a demo, then please feel free to reach out to either Stuart or I, because I know that we both have kind of respective clients on this webinar. So if one or the other would like to see the other systems, then please feel free to reach out to us. And I guess with all of these things, I guess before any demo, there will be, I guess, a discovery session or call, but whereby we want to understand what the client is using right now, what improvements they envisage in their businesses, so that demo can be laser focused on their needs, as opposed to a blanket demo of everything the system can do. Excellent. Right. Okay. Before we go, just a quick reminder that we have a page on the QGate website where you'll be able to see the recording of this webinar and many others, as well as access to our blog library. And you can see some of the titles of our recent webinars on this screen. There's also a couple of forthcoming events for your calendar. The next QGate webinar is at the end of this month, and we haven't yet finalized the title for that, but the theme is why do 70% of software implementations fail? And we're looking at how you can increase the chance of success by ensuring that you train and onboard your users appropriately and offer context-based training. And we're inviting ClickLearn, who are a digital adoption software, to talk about effective training strategies and their tool for ongoing support for your users, which is built into the software. And from Dynamics Consultants, you're hosting a webinar in November where you're showcasing the next set of feature updates from the Wave 2 release of Business Central. And if you'd like any information on either one of those, then please keep an eye on your inboxes, or feel free to drop us an email and we'll share these the registration pages for both of those. I think we'll probably be including those links in the webinar recording email that also goes out. And we will, as I mentioned, be sharing a copy of that video, so keep an eye out for that email and that link. Anyone watching this as a live session or recording and you'd like to discuss your CRM and or ERP requirements, then please feel free to reach out to Stuart or I. And all that's left for me to do is to thank Stuart and to Yaz for keeping an eye on the chat and questions, and you all for taking the time to join us here this afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much, Josh.
Thanks. Goodbye.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye.